Why your brain is designed to keep you poor. You're at Target. You only came in for laundry detergent. Somehow you're walking out with a new throw pillow, a candle that smells like autumn memories, and a $40 charcuterie board you'll use exactly once. Your cart is $127 over budget and you're already justifying it in your head. Well, I did skip Starbucks twice this week. Here's the thing. That wasn't a lack of willpower. That wasn't you being bad with money. That was your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, and it's keeping you broke. My name is Win, and I spend way too much time thinking about why smart people make terrible financial decisions. If you're someone who knows what you should be doing with money but somehow can't get yourself to actually do it, if you budget perfectly on Sunday and blow it by Wednesday, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, we need to talk about something that nobody in the personal finance space wants to admit. Your brain is literally working against you when it comes to building wealth. And I don't mean that in some vague, motivational poster kind of way. I mean, your brain has actual biological mechanisms that were designed to keep you alive 200,000 years ago. And those same mechanisms are absolutely destroying your bank account in 2025. A study from Princeton University found that when people are shown images of products they want to buy, the same part of their brain lights up as when drug addicts are shown their substance of choice. The nucleus accumbens, your brain's pleasure center, floods with dopamine. And here's what most people don't realize. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that's supposed to make rational decisions, literally gets quieter during this process. It's not a fair fight, but it gets worse. The instant gratification trap. Your brain operates on what neuroscientists call hyperbolic discounting. Basically, your brain values immediate rewards exponentially more than future rewards. And the math on this is actually insane. Researchers at Stanford did an experiment where they asked people, would you rather have $100 today or $110 tomorrow? Most people chose the $100 today. That's a 10% return in 24 hours. If you could get that consistently, you'd be a billionaire in a year. But when they asked, would you rather have $100 in a year or $110 in a year in one day? Most people chose $110. Same exact choice, same one-day wait. But suddenly, when both options are in the future, people become rational. This is your brain on hyperbolic discounting. The present you is completely different from the future you. And present you doesn't give a damn about future you's credit card debt. Here's a concrete example. Let's say you're 25 years old and you have a choice. Option A, go out to dinner and drinks tonight. $80. Option B, put that $80 into an index fund averaging 10% annual returns and leave it until you're 65. Option A gives you about 3 hours of enjoyment tonight. Option B gives you 3,720 days at retirement. That's not a typo. One night out or 46 nights out in retirement. But your brain doesn't compute it that way. Your brain sees fun now versus boring spreadsheet later. And fun now wins almost every single time. The loss aversion. Nightmare. Now you might be thinking, okay, Win, but I'm careful with my money. I don't just waste it. And that's where the second trap comes in, loss aversion. Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize for proving that humans feel the pain of losing money about twice as strongly as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. This sounds like it would make us more careful with money, right? Wrong. It makes us financially paralyzed. This is why people keep a savings account earning 0.5% interest instead of investing, even though they know inflation is eating their purchasing power. The possibility of losing money in the stock market feels more painful than the certainty of losing money to inflation, even though, historically, the S&P 500 has never had a negative return over any 20-year period. Ever. But your brain is screaming, what if you're the unlucky one? Here's the thing. Loss aversion doesn't just keep you from investing. It keeps you in terrible financial situations. It's why people stay in jobs they hate because leaving feels like losing their current salary, even if they could make more elsewhere. It's why people hold on to losing stocks hoping they'll recover, while selling winning stocks too early to lock in gains. A study by Terrence O'Dean at UC Berkeley analyzed 10,000 brokerage accounts and found that the stocks people sold outperformed the stocks they kept by 3.4% per year. They were literally doing the opposite of what they should do. And it's not because they're dumb, it's because their brains are designed to avoid loss at all costs, even when avoiding loss guarantees loss. The comparison trap. But here's where it gets really interesting. Your brain isn't just working against your future self, it's also constantly comparing you to everyone around you. And social comparison is a wealth killer. There's this concept in economics called the hedonic treadmill. Basically, no matter how much money you make, you adapt to your new lifestyle and return to your baseline level of happiness. Researchers found that lottery winners, 1 year after winning millions of dollars, reported being no happier than they were before winning. But the kicker is this: your baseline doesn't just adjust to your own circumstances, it adjusts to your peer group's circumstances. Cornell economist Robert Frank found that people care more about relative wealth than absolute wealth. Meaning, you'd rather make $50,000 when everyone around you makes $40,000 than make $70,000 when everyone around you makes $80,000. Even though in absolute terms, you're $20,000 richer in the second scenario. This is why lifestyle creep is so dangerous. You get a raise, you should be better off financially, right? But suddenly your friends are buying new cars, taking international vacations, upgrading their apartments. Your brain sees this and thinks, I'm falling behind. So you upgrade too. The raise disappears. You're still living paycheck to paycheck, just with nicer stuff. I see this constantly. Someone making $45,000 complains they can't save money. They get a promotion to $65,000. I check back in a year later, still can't save money, but now they have a $500 car payment, a bigger apartment, and a subscription to literally everything. According to a study by the Federal Reserve, the median American household earning $100,000 to $149,000 per year has just $15,000 in savings. That's households in the top 25% of earners with barely 2 months of expenses saved, because the more you make, the more you spend to keep up. The mental accounting. Disaster. All right, here's another way your brain is sabotaging you. Mental accounting. Your brain categorizes money differently depending on where it comes from and what it's for. But money is money. A dollar is a dollar. Your brain doesn't see it that way. Classic example, you find a $20 bill on the street. What do you do with it? Most people treat it as free money and blow it on something frivolous, but if you earned that $20 from an hour of work, you'd think more carefully about how to spend it. Same $20, completely different mental category. Or here's one that kills me. People who keep $10,000 in a savings account earning basically nothing while simultaneously carrying $5,000 in credit card debt at 24% APR. When you ask them why, they say, that's my emergency fund, I can't touch it. Let me do the math for you. That credit card is costing you $200 per year in interest. Your savings account is making you maybe $50 per year. You are losing $1,150 per year because your brain has categorized that savings account as untouchable emergency money, and the credit card debt as something I'm working on paying down. If you paid off the credit card with the savings, you'd save $1,200 per year. Then you'd rebuild that emergency fund in about 5 months just from the money you're no longer paying in interest. But mental accounting makes this feel wrong, even though mathematically it's obvious. Here's another one. Tax refunds. The average tax refund in America is about $3,000. That's literally your own money that you overpaid to the government, and they're giving it back to you with zero interest. But people treat tax refunds like winning the lottery. They splurge on a vacation or a new TV because it feels like found money. If that same $3,000 came into your account as $250 per month, you'd probably be more responsible with it. But because it comes as one lump sum, your brain categorizes it differently. Same money. Terrible outcome. Now, the most insidious part of all of this is that you think you're immune to it. There's research showing that people can accurately identify these biases in others, but somehow think they themselves are immune. It's called the bias blind spot, and it's maybe the most dangerous cognitive bias of all because it prevents you from protecting yourself against all the other biases. You watch someone else finance a $50,000 truck they can't afford and think, what an idiot. Then you justify your own $8 daily coffee habit because it's just coffee and I deserve this small luxury. But $8 times 365 days is $2,920 per year. Invested at 10% annual returns over 30 years, that's $481,000, $500,000 for coffee. Now look, I'm not saying never buy coffee. I'm saying your brain is really, really good at justifying your own bad financial decisions while spotting everyone else's. The scarcity mindset trap. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Poverty literally changes how your brain works. Researchers at Princeton found that financial stress consumes mental bandwidth. When you're worried about making rent, your IQ effectively drops by 13 points. That's the difference between average and superior intelligence, just wiped out by financial stress. This creates a vicious cycle. When you're broke, You make worse financial decisions because you're cognitively impaired by the stress of being broke, which keeps you stressed, which keeps you making bad decisions. And it's not just decision making. Scarcity mindset makes you focus intensely on immediate needs at the expense of long term planning. It's not irresponsible. It's survival mode. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do: prioritize the immediate threat. The problem is, in modern society, the immediate threat isn't a lion, it's an overdraft fee, but your brain treats them the same way. This is why just budget better advice is useless for people genuinely struggling. Their brains are literally working differently. You can't think your way out of poverty when poverty is affecting your ability to think. So, what do we do about this? Okay, so if our brains are designed to keep us poor, how do we build wealth? Here's the uncomfortable answer: you can't fight your brain. You have to trick it. First, automate everything. Your brain can't sabotage decisions it never has to make. The day your paycheck hits, automatically transfer money to savings, investments, debt payments, whatever your goals are. Do it before you see the money. Before your brain can categorize it as spendable income. Fidelity did a study and found that people who automate their retirement contributions save 3.5 times more than people who manually contribute. Same income levels, same investment options. The only difference is automation, because when it's automatic, your brain never gets a vote. Second, use commitment devices. Your future self can't be trusted, so handcuff them. Put your money somewhere that penalizes you for withdrawing it early. Use a 401k, an IRA, a CD, anything with withdrawal penalties. This sounds counterintuitive, but it works. You're literally paying for the privilege of protecting yourself from your own brain. Third, eliminate decision fatigue. Every financial decision is an opportunity for your brain to make the wrong choice. So reduce the number of decisions. Don't go to Target for just one thing. Order it online. Don't browse when you're bored. Cancel the credit card with the highest limit. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. Studies show that the average person makes about 35,000 decisions per day, and decision quality decreases with each one. This is why judges give harsher sentences before lunch and more lenient ones after. They're decision fatigued. Your financial decisions are no different. Fourth, reframe the comparison game. Instead of comparing yourself to your peers, compare your current self to your past self. Are you better off than you were last year? That's what matters. Someone else buying a new car doesn't change your financial reality, but your brain needs to be explicitly reminded of this. I actually keep a spreadsheet where I track my net worth monthly, not to obsess over it, but so I can see the progress. When I see that number going up, even slowly, it rewires my brain's reward system. I get that dopamine hit from financial progress instead of from buying stuff. Fifth, increase the pain of spending. Use cash for discretionary purchases. Studies show people spend 12 to 18% less when using cash versus cards because physically handing over money activates the same pain centers in your brain as physical pain. Your brain feels the loss more acutely. Or, if you prefer digital, try this. Every time you want to buy something non-essential, screenshot it and wait 48 hours. If you still want it in 2 days, buy it. But most of the time, that initial dopamine spike will have passed and you'll realize you don't actually need it. But here's the thing. All of these are just tactics. The real shift has to happen in how you think about your relationship with money. Your brain sees spending as a reward and saving as a punishment. You need to flip that. Saving needs to become the reward. Building wealth needs to become the source of dopamine. And look, I know that sounds impossible, but it's not. It's actually just about reframing. Instead of thinking, I can't afford that, think, I'm choosing not to buy that because I'm prioritizing something more important. See the difference? One makes you feel deprived, the other makes you feel empowered. Instead of thinking, I have to save money, think, I get to build wealth. One is a punishment, the other is an opportunity. Instead of thinking, I'm sacrificing now for later, think, I'm buying my future freedom. Because that's what you're actually doing. Every dollar you save and invest is buying you time. Time where you don't have to work, time where you have options, time where you can say no to things you don't want to do. Warren Buffett has this quote, "The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." And that applies to both good and bad money habits. The broke habits feel effortless until suddenly you're 50 with no savings and it feels impossible to change. But the wealth building habits also feel insignificant at first until suddenly you're financially secure and wondering why everyone doesn't do this. The truth about discipline. Here's what nobody tells you. Discipline is a myth. Nobody is disciplined. What successful people have is systems that make good choices automatic and bad choices difficult. I'm not more disciplined than you. I promise. I just set up my finances so that being responsible is easier than being irresponsible. The money goes where it needs to go before I can think about it. The obstacles to spending are high enough that my lazy brain usually doesn't want to bother. Because here's the truth, your brain is always going to want instant gratification. That's not a character flaw, that's evolution. The people who stopped to carefully plan their future 100,000 years ago got eaten by predators. The people who grabbed the food in front of them survived and passed on their genes. You're descended from the impulsive ones. Your brain is doing what it's supposed to do, but we're not living in caves anymore. The rules have changed, and your financial success depends on you recognizing that your instincts, while perfectly designed for survival in a prehistoric world, are absolute garbage for building wealth in a modern one. So, look, your brain is designed to keep you poor. But knowing that is actually empowering because once you understand the mechanisms, you can work around them. You can't change your brain, but you can change your systems. You can automate your finances. You can remove temptations. You can reframe your relationship with money. You can protect your future self from your present self. The wealthy aren't wealthy because they're more disciplined or smarter or have more willpower. They're wealthy because they built systems that work with human psychology instead of against it. And here's what's crazy. Once you set up these systems, once you automate everything, once you remove the decisions, it becomes effortless. Your net worth starts growing and you barely notice. And then one day you check your accounts and realize you've built something real. Not because you suffered and sacrificed every single day, but because you made a few key decisions once and then got out of your own way. Your brain might be designed to keep you poor, but you can design a system that makes you wealthy anyway. If this video helped you understand why you've been struggling financially even though you know better, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment and let me know which cognitive bias hit closest to home for you. And if you want more content on actually building wealth instead of just understanding why you're not, I've got plenty more videos for you. Your brain might be working against you, but now you know how, and that changes everything.